Hello, good morning, and welcome to this session on general diagnostics. This class is part of the specialization on heavy trucks mechanics. My name is Cesar Cárdenas. I'm responsible for this class, and I'm a mechanical engineer and master of engineering in mechanical engineering. This is going to be the first section on general diagnosis. We're going to have 2 more sessions. In which we are going to go more in depth in different technical topics, normally used, applied in general diagnosis. Keep in mind that here we're going to talk about general stuff. We are not actually focused on some specific brand or something like that, manufacturer. Remember that out there in the field. Each dealer, dealership or this workshop or independent shop have to handle, their own OEM manuals or original equipment manufacturer, and to turn to these kind of manuals to be able to do some troubleshooting stuff on depending on the brand they work on. So we're gonna start just by giving some general concepts, talking about general concepts of diagnosis. Based on my own experience, I'm working in the field, out there in the field. So just keep in mind, as I told you before, that here we're going to talk about general issues, but specific issues, of course, are given by depending and by each manufacturer. Manufacturers are gonna recommend or suggest different diagnosis protocols, to deal or to approach or to deal with different faults or troubleshooting procedures. But here, basically, we're going to talk about some general concepts, at least in this first session. So, what is diagnosis? There could be different, of course, different definitions, concepts of diagnosis. But with a motor vehicles, it says here, with a motor vehicles, another engine-driven machinery breakdown. That's what this first slide says. Automotive technician must be able to, first of all, identify the problem, find the cause fault, and fix it. This is very, very general stuff, but actually many things are involved in each of these steps. And that's what it says here. This is called diagnosis, fault finding, or troubleshooting. But identify the problem. Normally, what you do, what dealers do, what technicians do, what the boss, or let's say the shop foreman, something like that, or the technician does is to reproduce the fault, and to try that way to find the component, the cause of the component of the fault, and then fix it. There are, for example, brands out there, that do that kind of procedure. So they reproduce the fault, but this is given, by the manufacturer. Depending on each troubleshooting procedure, or depending on the trouble code that you get, you're gonna have to identify or reproduce the fault, and to try to go to the component, the system, the component, and the cause. And of course, it's very important to know and to learn actually how a system works in order to find the cause fault and then fix it. How you're gonna fix it is gonna depend on the protocol, on the DTC that you get. So there are many things involved here, but pretty much in talking about an overall stuff, identify the problem, find the cause fault, and fix it, and that's what is called the diagnosis, the fault finding or troubleshooting, right? Well, what we have then, some advantages of good diagnosis. There are some advantages, of course, and benefits. When you go, when a technician, knows how to troubleshoot and to fix any problem, what is going to represent for him or for her or for them, that could be a woman as well, but it's going to represent money. You're going to have the chance to make money. So that's what they talk about here, benefits, because time and money no wasted. The customer, of course, the customer, time, money is not wasted. Vehicle is off the road minimum for a minimum amount of time, of course, because you need to you carry the vehicle. In this case, if it's a heavy truck, for example, the same thing. What we will require through wrong diagnosis. This is very important. The wrong diagnosis, normally, of course, you are going to have calls come back, customers come back because maybe the car keeps breaking down because due to some wrong diagnosis, right? the technician. But how you avoid this thing, around diagnosis, is because you have to follow strictly, the guidelines that are given by the manufacturer, depending on the fault or the DTC actually that you retrieve. The technician is skilled, an efficient employee, value a rewarded by employer, and satisfaction of doing a good job. But also the technician, of course, one of the more important benefits is that if it is get, of course, skills, of course, experience, more skills, satisfaction of good job, but also represents money, because there are technicians that maybe cannot do any job, or technicians that do a wrong diagnosis, so maybe because they are not qualified, for that problem, or not have the skills to deal with the problem, and cannot make money. Actually, this is also about money. The workshop, you're completing choice time, and some just can be completed in a day, and guarantee comes down because of hard or worse high quality. Of course, here I have been out in the field for different years, and I have seen the warranty, a lot of money, spent or invested in warranty, because maybe wrong diagnosis, because of faulty parts and faulty systems and stuff like that. And basically, so that pretty much all the benefits that you can, find out there in the field when you deal with diagnostic stuff. Well, what is a symptom? Something is something that is abnormal, of course. But here we have in this slide some just an example of a clutch. It feels funny. Or the engine cuts off at the traffic lights. Something is abnormal. If the clutch is funny or the engine cuts off, you are two different problems. Maybe if one of these, depending on the brand, I insist on the same, depending on the car and depending on the head truck that you have, maybe you're gonna have a change, or get a check engine light on, because if this cuts off on traffic lights or the clutch is falling, maybe that you already know that something is not right, something is abnormal, something the driver can see, feel, can see, hear, feel, or smell. You feel any or you hear any noise, or you feel some vibration, for example, or you just smell something, or you actually that you see something, right? So it's making noise, for example, some kind of noise, just to make an example. Or the front tires have worn out very quickly. There's something that you can see, right? That you can see it. So this is a symptom. This is the first one, a symptom of a concern, right? So if the clutch feels funny, you maybe go take the car to the shop. You go to the shop, right? And there, to be able to verify the symptom, to have to reproduce the fault, and say yes. The technician said yes, the customer is right, or the driver is right, the clutch feels funny, you have to reproduce the fault, and then you have to go, to go in depth and to try to find out the cause of the problem, and the cause of the symptom, right? And this is pretty much what is a symptom. Something that is abnormal, something that you can see, something that you can hear, something you can feel or smell. And what is a fault? Anything as a normal condition in a vehicle or system or component. Maybe. Keep in mind that a hardware fault, things that are broken, wrong, etc., or a software fault in an electronic model. All the cars nowadays, all the heavy trucks or vehicles, diesel or engine, whatever, it doesn't matter, all of them nowadays work based on electronic controls, right? So all the mechanical systems are controlled by electronic models. Just say ECU, electronic control unit, or a PCM, powertrain control module, but all of them have this electronic control module that can fail, of course. It's not so common, it's very rarely, but it can happen. Keep in mind the example, or remember the example in the previous slide. You have the clutch feels funny, customer notices a symptom, and the clutch master cylinder might be leaking, symptom is caused by a fault. This is the symptom due to this, right? The clutch feels funny, I'm sorry, these are two different. This is clutch and this is master cylinder. We're talking about the clutch master cylinder may be leaking, so this is the symptom. That is of course the fault. There will be some leaking problem there, right? So keep in mind this could be a hardware fault, things that are broken down, but also it's a software fault that can cause very difficult problems. You have to be very tricky sometimes to try to find this if it is due to an electronic model, but we're going to talk about a little bit about that later on other other sessions on, even in this one I have some, I think I have in the next slide some diagram, let's say, about, but anyways, we're going to talk about inputs and outputs and stuff like that. What could cause a fault? A customer notices a symptom, the close feels funny. This is the concern, or this, the symptom. A fault, that is the symptom, is, of course, the symptom is caused by a fault. The clutch master cylinder is leaking. This is just an example. As I said before, what is the cause of the fault? Contaminated clutch fluid has been damaged by the master cylinder seal. So the seal maybe is broken or something like that, and it's causing a leaking, and that's the problem with the fault. So that's the cause of the problem, and of course the symptom that the customer notices, or the driver notices, that the clutch feels funny, right? So this could be the difference, actually, the difference between a symptom and the symptom and fault. The symptom, felt by the customer, and that cause a fault, of course. Oh, sorry. So, but keep in mind again, I would like to be to focus on that. This is very general, general example, but maybe to be able to deal and to approach this problem, it's possible that maybe this leaky, for example, this leaking master cylinder caused by a seal that is broken, or that might be broken, can produce or originate a check engine light on, right? So if that is the problem, it's possible to get maybe a DTC. It could be possible, but it's gonna depend on the system, right? And or just by checking or doing some kind of inspection, right, the problem can be found and repaired, right? So it could be, if it is a hardware, if it is a hardware problem, if it could be an electronic problem, that could be another issue, another stuff, and there could be a different way to approach that, the manual service manual or the protocol, troubleshooting protocols or diagnosis steps recommended by the manufacturer. That's what we have here, no? Diagnostic procedure steps. This is very general. Of course, you want to have to follow the guidelines provided by the manufacturer, but here it's important that all automotive service technicians know how to diagnose and troubleshoot any computer systems. This is very important nowadays. If you know how the system works, or how any system works, and you know how this computer system works, what is the role and the job of this system that you are, maybe you want to have very good and important skills, to be able to diagnose or to do troubleshooting procedures. The diagnostic process is strategically that eliminates non-goal components or system in order to find the root cause of the remote engine performance problems. What we have here is basically that you need to know, or to learn how to know. Yes, you have to know, the technicians need to know actually how a system works. Let's say a powertrain system, engine system, transmission system, whatever, infotainment, whatever, air conditioning, and if he has a clear understanding, technicians have a clear understanding of how a system works, depending on the brand, of course, so it will be possible to establish a very good strategy that eliminates non-known components or systems in order to find the root cause. So you know how any system works. You can actually go through the whole process, troubleshooting process, to find maybe the system that is failing, that is faulty actually, and the component and the cause of that. Right? All the eco manufacturers recommend this diagnostic procedure. That's what I have mentioned several times. And the plan suggesting this chapter just combines most of the, what it says here is, this combines most of the features that this plan this plan selection and step developed over the years for real world problem solving. So what is here is that what I want to remark here is the all vehicle manufacturers recommend diagnostic procedures. So here in this presentation we are just giving some important information, basic information actually, which is important as well, of course, on how to approach these problems, but based on very basic info that you need to know. But you have to follow always the recommended diagnostic procedures, because remember that normally you are going to have to deal with different diagnostics or trouble, let's say DTC, diagnostic trouble codes. Some types of diagnostic procedures we have here pretty much this one black box is pretty much what you find nowadays. I think I will be able to focus on this one. Branching is maybe this is another logical systematic stuff, but there are two common approaches. And normally here this is what we confirm. We have a black box, inputs and outputs. So this black box could be an ECU, an electronic control unit, or could be a PCM, a powertrain control unit. This is pretty much branching is, for example, similar to a CAN-bus diagnostic stuff. Or we have here a step by step. Which one is going to be the best? Now, you're going to have to follow the one that is recommended, the procedure diagnostic, that is the diagnostic procedure, recommended by the manufacturer. But here we have, I would like to focus on this one, because this one is pretty much how you troubleshoot a control unit. You're going to have always an input, right, based on the electrical diagram of the system, right, or the black box, because you can have, let's say, this is input 1 and input 2. Input 2 is coming in with some information to the black box and make decisions, right, and it's going to go out through, for instance, to through the output will be, this is 2, let's say, just to make an example, let's say that this is input 2, and the other one is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's say that this is output 5, right? So one way, for example, in updating the field to diagnose this, remember that we're going to talk a little bit more about this in detail later on other presentation, on other sessions. You have to make, you have to know what is the voltage reference here, what is the voltage signal here, what is between 4 and 5 volts, and you have 5 volts, it could be 12, could be 12. But let's say that you have 12 volts right here, if it's the voltage signal specified by the manufacturer, you have here 12, so this black box is right. But you have 12 right here and you have 0 here, it means that maybe this black box is going to be wrong. It's going to be bad, actually bad, right? Damaged, broken. So you're going to have to change this, right? Because this is the way you can diagnose this very easily, right? So this is another ways to do that, but the one is going to depend on the manufacturer. The diagnostic procedure is actually given by the manufacturer. Right. And we have here another branch. We have here some kind of block diagram, sometimes called a decision tree. It says here, this is an example. This could be given easily, it could be given, it's absolutely possible that one kind of diagnostic procedure like this one and the one that is presented here can be given by any manufacturer. So you have here oil level is correct, yes, is pressure correct, check pressure, going to be between these ranges, between these specifications. If it is not, could be a pressure too low or pressure too high, check for restrictions. If it is too low, for example here, clean, replace, filter, check pressure. These also could generate any maybe DTC or double diagnostic trouble code, and maybe the double code is gonna take you through one of these kind of procedures, diagnostic procedure like this one. This is just an example. If it is, the level is correct, yes. The pressure is correct, yes, no problem. But if it is not, pressure too low, or if it is too low, you have to check this. If it is no low is high, check the restrictions. If it is there are no restrictions or there are restrictions, you're gonna have to change some component, right? So this is what is called a decision tree. That's an answer yes or no question. This is a kind of algorithm, right? But this is pretty much what sometimes found in workshop or manuals, this kind of decision tree. But actually, and again, it's going to depend on the diagnostic procedure set up by the manufacturer. Blackbox diagnostic, I gave you some basically general information on a previous slide on how this works. But this way with electronic is basically very useful as with electronic control systems. Remember that inputs right here could be signal from sensors, that go into this black box. That could be an ECU, as electronic control unit, or PCM. Normally in diesel engines it's called ECU, and the outputs right here. And the idea is to measure voltage signals right here and voltage signals out here, because there could be a signal and then any signal to any actuator. Could be maybe an injector, a solenoid, whatever. Concentration testing, everything outside the box. Most likely a faulty sensor or actuator will be found. It could be a faulty sensor or an actuator that is, has any fault. If all inputs outputs are connection are okay, the problem will be lie with ECU. That's the issue, because normally there are many, you can get so many wiring problems right here, or wiring problems right here, and the ECU is right. But if you know how, you have the clear understanding how to measure voltage signal right here, about testing, but of course this measure is gonna be based on the electrical diagram of this echo, because remember that you have an input right here, but the electrical diagram is gonna show you where is the input and where is the output, right? And to measure voltage signals in the input and on the output, and that way you can establish if the echo is one or is bad actually. So just to summarize some very basic diagnostic procedures: we have the concern, the problem, reproduce the fault, perform a visual inspection of basic text. That could be part of the very basic diagnostic issue or diagnostic procedure. I mean, check everything doesn't work, check for obvious problems, but based on this visual inspection, look for evidence of previous repairs, check oil level and condition, check oil level and condition. This could be level condition. Normally nowadays there are intelligent options that is called intelligent monitoring that check the oil level for you. Check oil level and condition, so check all the fluids basically, ensure adequate fuel level, check battery voltage, using spark tester, check fuel pump pressure. But this is the diagnostic procedure that you can do, very basic stuff you can do just as a visual inspection. But remember that depending on the DTC that you get or something like that, there could be, maybe these things are not, maybe that's what I depend. I mean, depending on the DTC, if you retrieve DTCs, right, we're going to talk about that in some other sessions later. This is going to be some visual inspection that you can do, but depending on the DTC, maybe these kind of things maybe are not necessary to do, right? And here we have just part of the summary. We have a customer concern, diagnostics to locate error, cause to the problem, repairs completed, repair confirmed, and clear, cause clear. When we talk about cause, we are talking about here, I mentioned this refers to cause clear. It means DTCs, double diagnostic trouble codes that we can find, and the customer satisfaction. Here we have a little bit more detailed stuff here. This is the same right here, but this is more detailed. We have a vehicle problem, and then instead to verify the problem through visual inspection and perform simple tests, because the idea is to, as again, to reproduce the fault, step to retrieve diagnostic trouble codes. You are going to do this. How are you going to retrieve this? With the OBD-II scan tool. We are going to talk about that. Check for theoretical techniques of observability. You have to exactly follow the guidelines given here, because there could be some new bulletin that the manufacturer has detected that there are cars, vehicle, heavy trucks, etc., that have presented a different some kind of special technical issue that have to be corrected. So the bulletin says or gives information, or bulletins give or provide information to the shops, or to the dealers, on how to repair any technical issue that maybe can be happening, on some models. Locate the scan tool data through OBD-II. We're going to talk about that. Narrow the system problem, repair the problem, verify if it is the problem was solved, and then of course you have the diagnostic customer satisfaction. Of course, when the repair, if the fault is generating any code right here and here in the DTC, of course after it is repaired, the DTC has to be clear, right? It has to disappear, of course. Well, and this is what I was. Yes, I have the information here. This is the OBD-II diagnosis. This is started. OBD-II stands for board diagnosis. This is generation 2. Generation 2, because we have OBD-II 1, OBD-1 and 2, but nowadays all cars have OBD-II because there are no regulations in developed countries and stuff. Basically, what we're going to find is a 16-pin connector. This is the pin connector. This is where you have to plug your scan tool through this OBD-II port in order to retrieve DTCs. So I started DTCs, the diagnostic trouble codes, right? So starting with the 1996 model year, so vehicle sold in the United States will be used the same 16-pin connector, in order to monitor not just systems. With the OBD-II, the regulations establish that all emission components have to be monitored through this OBD-II stuff. So how it does that, or the system does that, you have there are different driving cycles. There are many things that are done by a kind of intelligent software, to be able to detect problems through the emission system. So once you plug your scan tool right here in the 16-pin connector, you have a chance to retrieve OBD-II codes. So that's why all vehicles must have a same data link connector, just a 16-pin connector, but it doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter the manufacturer actually. Anyway, the scan tool should be connected to it. So you have, it is a Toyota, it is an International, there is a Mack truck or whatever, it has to have this kind of connector, all they have to do, because it's a law, you have to follow the regulations. The data link connector will be accessible in the driver's seat. Normally it is underneath the dash, for example. You can find this stuff, and once you plug it, you can have a chance to retrieve any DTCs. And this is the way you have to, you can find the connection in a car, in a truck or a car. You have the diagnostic scan tool, but this is the 16-pin connector, OBD-II, right? And all it says, you have all the modules right here that are connected to the CAN drive or the auto networking, right? And they are always talking between them, and sending messages, And here, of course, I show you the dash here, because in the instrument here you can have, once you get a fault, when the system detects a fault, the checking engine light must, or a changing engine light could be originated, right? Because some of the monitoring stuff that the system is doing can find any problem in emission systems or any other systems. But what it's shown here is basically something that is, maybe it is clearer here. You can see the echo 1, 2, 3, and 4. It means that this one could be the control unit of the engine, this one could be the control unit of the transmission, this one could be the control unit of the infotainment, for example. Or this one is monitoring tire pressure, whatever, and all of it connecting to a high CAN or low CAN, right? And is getting actually messages, and this is making decisions, right? This is basically that. So, and once you connect it through this, you can have here, a diagnosis interface, and when you plug your OBD-II scan tool, you can retrieve codes. And maybe this one is not so clear, but this one is clearer. How all the echoes or the electronic control units that are, and remember that a vehicle nowadays can have 20 computers on board, right? And all of them connected to a low and high CAN signals, right? Well, and the way to diagnose is, but you can have here off-board tester or an inboard tester right here. Here you have a CAN system. CAN system is the control area network, right? That is protocol communication protocol, and all the computers are communicating between them or among them, through this system. So there are control units that handle, for example, injection system, and control units that handle transmission, control units that handle air conditioning, control units that handle the TCM, for example, the transmission controller unit, and all of them are talking to each other, right? Well, and what we have here on the option here to see, for example, to extract information from any control unit, to see if you can, maybe some manufacturers have the chance with this, through these scan tools or through this equipment, to make some changes, to check others things faulty, to maybe to measure something, that you can get different variables here and to find any problem also with this kind of off-board tester stuff. Well, that's all I had for today. If you have any question, of course, just let me know. This is the last slide today. Yes, that's the last one. So if you have any questions, of course, just email me, and I will be happy to answer all your questions regarding all these topics. I hope that this information is it can be useful for your course. And if you want more information, written information on this diagnostic procedure, just email me, and I can provide you more info on this if you want. So just let me know, and thanks for your attention, and have a nice day.